So I know I said I'm coming back for example 2, but I didn't realize there was an example C. So we're coming back for example C here. 3 over 4x minus y is equal to 2, and 1 over 8x plus 1 over 4y is equal to 2. Before we can do, well, you could do all of this work and use fractions. There's absolutely nothing wrong with that. If you want to try and change some terms around so that you're adding or subtracting and eliminating a variable using fractions, please feel free to go ahead and do so. It is absolutely and completely possible. But it would be significantly easier if we could change these equations before we do any of that to get rid of any of the fractions. And we do that by looking at each individual equation. So this equation, my common denominator is 4. So I'm going to multiply everything in this equation by 4. I'm going to multiply the 3 over 4x, I'm going to multiply the y, and I'm going to multiply by the 2 by 4. And that's going to give me 12x over 4 minus 4y equals 8. And you'll see that 12x over 4 simplifies and reduces to 3x minus 4y equals 8. Oh, sorry, I'll pause that there for a second just so you can see that. And that's the whole idea. We can eliminate the fractions by increasing by certain factors so that the fractions will reduce. This equation, what's our common denominator? Common denominator is 8. So I'm going to multiply everything in this fraction by 8. That means the 1 over 8 gets multiplied by 8, the 1 over 4 gets multiplied by 8, and the 2 gets multiplied by 8. So this gives me 1 over 8 times 8 is 8 over 8 x plus 8 over 4 y equals 16, and that will simplify to x plus 2y equals 16. So there's my two equations, and I take those two equations and I manipulate those around so that I eliminate one term. So I'll carry that on. I don't know if I have enough. I'll carry that on down over here. So I ended up with 3x minus 4y equals 8. And I ended up with x plus 2y equals 16. Now, this is a question that contains just about everything you'd need to know about eliminating variables. So first of all, we had to get rid of the fraction. Now we look at our equations and we go, well, you know what? I can't add or subtract those together to get rid of a variable. So I need to multiply one, whether it's the top one or the bottom one, or both, depending on the types of equations you're given, multiply by factors so that I can make them equal. And I can multiply the top one, I can multiply the bottom one, or I can multiply both in order to do so. So in this case, I see that, and you could choose a different variable, but I see that if I multiply this, oh, I don't want purple. If I multiply this term, this plus 2y, by 2, I'd end up with 4y, which would cancel out with this 4y right here, which would be a nice easy step to do. There's nothing wrong with saying, well, if I multiply this x by 3 and subtracted, well, those would cancel as well. You could do either of those. Okay, so just be aware that there's different ways that you could do these. So I'm going to take this equation and I'm going to multiply everything in this equation by 2. Because what will happen is this, here, let me show you. I'll just write it down below. My top equation stays the same, 3x minus 4y equals 8. My second equation, because I multiply this 2 by x, is going to become 2x. Because I multiply this 2 by 2y, it's going to be plus 4y equals this 32. How much room do I have? I'm going to run out of room. Okay. So now I can add these two equations together because this plus 4y and this minus 4y will cancel each other out. So I'm going to add these together. I'm going to get 5x plus 0y equals 40, which is 5x equals 40. Divide by 5, divide by 5, gives me x is equal to 8. Now, I don't have enough room to do that down below, but I'm going to go up and I'm going to, I'll do this over here. So now my next step is to take this value of x equals 8, substitute it into an equation, and to see if it holds true. So I go back to one of my original equations. I go back to an original equation just in case I've messed something up. I'm going to go 3 over 4x minus y equals 2, and I'm going to substitute in 8 for x. 3 times 8 over 4 minus y is equal to 2, which is 24 over 4 minus y is equal to 2, which is 6 minus y is equal to 2. Subtract 6, minus y is equal to negative 4, and then divide by negative 1, divide by negative 1, y is equal to 4. So the solution to my system, 8, 4. Okay? Now I will come back in the next video with example 2.